All right, we're ready here, Laurie. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to meet Tina here. I just want to thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Thanks to those who have subscribed, click like, and follow my channel all this time. It hasn't been that long, but thank you so much. For those who are new, this is your first time. Well, you kindly subscribe and click like. If you get a chance, maybe do it right now. Just kidding. No, just. So anyway, what's going on with the energy in the world and how can you be prepared for it? Laurie Johnson, my dear teacher, is going to be sharing with us, showing us what kind of energy is coming in, what kind of energies for the rest of the year, and how can you be prepared. She will show you how. Laurie, how are you doing?
I'm doing well.
Awesome, awesome. Well, take it from me here. What's going on? What's going on with the universe, with the energy? I know it's been cooking. It's been kind of interesting energy lately too.
Yeah, it's a well, I mean, every year we have is important. This is significantly important for as we move further into the Aquarian age and let go of Piscean age mentality, as we can tell, because the Piscean age holdouts are screaming in their fear that they're losing their power, which they are, but they're predominant. If you watch the news or just talk to somebody who might not even have, conflicting opinions from yours, there's just a lot of stress and tension because we're at that point this year being really significant of that switch over from the Piscean age mentality still being the majority, or I can't even say the majority, but still being able to maintain this power over and white male power, the whole concept that's been going on for so long. And they're really making it stink right now. So we did the first 4 months, just as a recap, we did the first 4 months, which was about taking care of your personal karma, like whatever you needed to get rid of because you'd already finished it and were just doing it by rote, or you finished it and didn't know how to free yourself from the leftovers of it, then that's what we were doing. It was all personal. Then we had kind of a break from the end of April until June 3rd, where Mercury was retrograde. So even though we had Jupiter in Aries, which was a very lifting energy, we also got Mercury retrograde. So it kind of like took everything backwards. Since June 3rd, we've been on this uplift. This is Jupiter in Aries, but basically it is Aquarian age coming in and it's pushing and it's not taking any prisoners. But I talked about this before. It literally is like a rocket ride. It's taken us so far up into awareness, but we still have our feet in the Piscean age because that hasn't left over. It makes it really uncomfortable because you can feel really good about things on a personal level and about where you are. And then you talk to one person and it destroys everything because they're so negative or they're so fearful. So we're in this, one step, it's really great. Another step, it's like the thing that is the problem. This could be an absolutely tremendous ride that we're on, but we have so many people that are so afraid of it that they're kind of like clogging up the works. And the way that I look at it, it's like you all look at these holdouts, these Piscean age holdouts. I see them, no matter how old they are physically in this lifetime, they're like 5-year-old little kids. They're 5-year-old little boys that for the first 5 years of their life, they have been able to do whatever they want. They're running around in the woods and they're killing things or they're having a good time. They can do whatever they want because there's no restriction on them. Okay, so now the energy, the female energy, which is coming in the Aquarian age to balance it out, or just Aquarian age energy, has taken them to a spiritual place like a church or a synagogue, a temple, a mosque. And they're at the threshold and it's like, this is your next lesson. Your next lesson is about your own spirituality, your own growth within yourself. And the person takes them to the door and they get their feet, these little kids get their feet stuck at the threshold, put their hands on the jam. They're not going any further. And meanwhile, the female Aquarian age energy is pulling them into the door and they're pushing back as much as they can. And then they start screaming obscenities that a 5-year-old should not know because it's that adamant that they don't go. So they're feeling the pressure. The pressure hasn't gone anywhere. It isn't gone. But what they're doing is saying, no, 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 no. And the more it pushes, the louder they say that. And this is what we get when we get the Supreme Court going on and their stupidity going on, repeated stupidity. And what a lot of people in Congress are doing, and I won't say it's all Republicans because there are some Democrats that like to bitch slap, but we're going into this lifting time and it's lifting everybody, but it's lifting these 5-year-old little kids and they are fighting it because they don't want to go there. they're not in charge of that. They can't know if they're going to be good at it or not. It's not something that they could be in charge of, so they don't want it. So we got this energy, which is that lifting energy that just takes us so that we can see things that we never saw before and feel things that we never felt before. But these people that are stuck and that are screaming, they spew that energy out. So it's kind of like the levels of what we've got, of what we're feeling right now. We can feel what we personally feel, like how you woke up today, whether you feel good, whether you ate the right thing, if you got enough sleep, the people that you're going to deal with, do you want to go to work or not? That's just your personal stuff. But then you're also picking that up from everybody else that you know on a personal level. So it's like people within your family, even if they're not living with you, you pick up their energy. Then you pick up the energy of the people that you don't know, meaning like the people that you encounter, some acquaintances or just in a grocery store, and they're spewing off their stuff too. And after you get through that, then you get what is considered purposeful influence, which is as if the news or somebody else's opinion, which you're taking on. And it doesn't mean you have to agree with it or you're being political and you don't talk or you do talk. It's there. Then we get that lift into the Aquarian age, which we're all feeling, and it brings in harmony, but we feel that harmony. And then it's kind of like the negativity of the Piscean age brings us right back down. Then we're influenced by the planets and their activity. We're influenced very strongly by the moons, especially these days. And then these days, we're going to be influenced by the push of a whatever zodiacal sign we're in. So right now we're in Cancer. So the good part and the bad part is that you can feel very emotional, very magnanimous, very wanting to help people because it's kind of that, want to nurture people side. But then the negative it is, I just got to hide. I'm going to hide in my shell and walk away from everybody because it's crazy. So we have that, which can mean on one day you can feel magnanimous and another day you need to hide. So that kind of stuff is going on. And then we got lessons for self, the lessons for others that we feel because they're pushing it on us. And it's impossible to not go through this every single day. So I'm just saying there are levels and levels. And if we are aware that there is so much going on, we might not judge ourselves so strictly about how we should be handling this. Because basically, I can tell you, everybody, even the little kids who are screaming and crying, everybody's handling it the best way that they can.
Wow.
So we've got rhythms that are going on here. And they're going to go through the rest of this year. And they're all karmic, but we did the big karmic work. So the karmic work we're doing now is kind of like cleaning up the dust bunnies. But when you are so high in higher energy, in that Aquarian age energy, where you can see life, the universe, and everything, and you can have a far side of everything, then what's a little dust bunny feels really big. So things that you're encountering, it's kind of like I talked with somebody yesterday, and it was all about her mother was not a good mother. Her mother was an alcoholic, and she always thought she could have one good conversation with her before she died and straighten everything out. And her mother's been dead for 12 years. And she still thinks that if she had had that one conversation, she would straighten everything out because it's in her mind. And that's the stuff that's coming in for her. And it's like, you couldn't have done anything. She didn't hear you the 75 times you told her before. She wasn't going to hear you on her deathbed. Okay, but that's in her mind. And that's the dust bunny coming up because she's dealt with this for 12 years, but it's really important right now for her. So that stuff comes up. So what we've got though this year is that the finesse of our karma, so that we are kind of in balance for what we've already done, that we've let go of, what we yet to do. We know that, and being in balance with just in that center, ending of the year to start the next year, which is going to be a real trip and in a good way. But to start 2023, it's kind of like this year is giving us the opportunity and the push to get rid of all that stuff, to get rid of what isn't us anymore, and the fine tuning of that. Okay, the rest of the year, the way the energy goes for the rest of the year, it's dealing with people on an individual basis, and it's dealing with people on the humanity basis too. So there's some really big things that are going on here. I'm sorry, I made notes so I wouldn't miss anything because I had information. So first off, learn how to identify how you're feeling. We go through the world and we don't stop and check ourselves on why we're feeling something. It's like, this is too hard. People are hard and I feel really down. Why do you feel down? Do you feel down because of you personally, or are you picking up somebody else's energy? And if you know what the energy is, you don't necessarily have to know, but be aware that probably about half of what we pick up now is piggybacked from other people that want somebody to take care of it for them. So first thing is be aware of that, so that if you are in a depression, you know why. Even if you've had depression or never had depression, this is a very up and down time. And if we don't know that we're being influenced by so many other forces, then what happens is we judge ourselves as if we're missing it. we missed something. And specifically, I've talked about this before too. Women will like, oh, what did I do wrong? What can I do better? What haven't I done? And it's like, everybody's done everything that they need to do. Go with the flow, especially women. They've done everything. Men have done everything too. Well, they have a lot to learn. So they're just really not happy with it. But also be aware, as we reach these higher levels, the moons are going to be beating the crap out of us. Meaning the full moon is about all that emotion coming up and being releasing. And the new moon is about new beginnings. And we have like a new beginning every month, and literally is a new beginning because you released something during that previous month. But the hardest thing, and I would say watch out for this, which they don't usually talk about, is the day before the new moon, when we're in the dark of the moon, when the moon is not influencing us, because people can go into severe depression. We had a dark of the moon on Monday, Sunday evening going into Monday, with the new moon on Tuesday. And I had 3 people who called who had never been in depression before, and the weekend and going into Monday, they were completely depressed. And I'm going, yeah, because this energy is so strong, we're getting more attuned to it. So every month there's significant moon activity that's like, oh yeah, the moon is changing, it's full, it's new, but we're feeling it more. And because we're in such a huge lesson this year, or opportunity to clean ourselves, our karma, everything that we've got around us, then we're just not seeing how important the moon is. 100%. Another cat. Hello, there's a tail.
Hello there.
I know.
She wanted to do a speech as well.
I know she wants something. Her tail.
She want to show us an energy.
Yeah. You're coming back, baby. So the moon, pay attention to the moons, because you can use them if you know the energy, meaning you can specifically use the release of the full moon to like literally do a ritual or do a meditation, or just acknowledge that this releases things that you're conscious of. And it starts new things, new awareness, new communication. But be aware really, really significantly. We haven't really been aware of the dark of the moon because that just really didn't hit us too hard, but it hits us hard all the time. So in each month, be aware of the moons and when they come in, the moon, the new moon, the full moon, and the dark of the moon, but also be aware what sign you're in. Because right now it's again Cancer. End of this month, it's going to be Cancer going into Leo, which is different from water energy into fire energy, different positives and negatives for that. And it's subtle, but you can all of a sudden, not be somebody who wants to stay home all the time. And in this Cancerian energy, just want to stay home all the time and not understand it. It's an influence of what we got. Everything that is influencing us is, we are becoming far more sensitive to it. So that's it. So there are rhythms of what's going on this year that kind of like complete karma and make this Piscean age crap go away, or at least have to face its own crap. And the first one we're going to encounter is going to be in August, because August is the Hungry Ghosts month. Within feng shui, that it is believed that the ghosts of hell are allowed to walk the earth and wreak havoc for everybody. I call it the karmic catch-up month. So we're already doing karmic work. And then we get into the karmic catch-up month, where for the last year, whatever you wanted to achieve karmically, it's going to come up. Did you do it? Did you do it? Did you do it? Well, you didn't do it. Do it now. For people who have already done the work over the beginning of this year, August is not going to be difficult, except for influence of everybody else. So it's like separate yourself from everybody else's influence, including the news and other people's opinions. But be aware that this does not have to be difficult if you write it out. If you expect to go on a vacation and have a good time, August isn't the time. And yet we always do that because, most people who are in corporate, that's one of the times to go. But when we get into August, the karmic stuff will come up for the people that have not done the work hardest.
Wow.
They will not like it. So we think they're giving us a hard time now. It escalates.
So I wonder if having to do with all this inflation and all this shortage of food and all this news that's been going on that's affecting their life.
Well, yeah, but I mean, this is, did you wake up? Are you a conscious human being? Are you being a good human being? Are you taking care of others? Are you part of humanity, or are you part of yourself? And all the things that you mentioned, these are things that on the surface, they're surface 3-dimensional things, that they give us an opportunity to face those things within ourselves. Because it's, again, when we started COVID, and I always bitch about this, when you go back to that time and, things were closed up, and I'm talking about the Starbucks again. It's kind of like, we are not a country without.
Yeah.
So even if we can't get our Starbucks, or like I can't find the right cat food easily, I find it, I always find it. but it's not as easy as it was before. We're not in hardship. Okay, that's not true, because I know that people with gas prices and all that stuff, that there's hardship going on,
Yeah.
but we're not adjusting to it without complaining. And I'm saying adjust to it. And the complaint is that it just gets in the way of how easy your life is. And granted, I know not everybody's life is easy. I get that. But we're still talking about, we are not living off the land because our supply chain broke down.
Right.
The supply chain is still there. And people don't think about that. They don't, I do, I'm sorry, I do, but I think about the extremity of it. And people just think about, well, I can't find what I want. So
Yeah.
get something different or do without for a while. And I once told some guy, it's like, if you can't find something, then just do without until you find it. He goes, do without? I can't do without. And oh my God, the guy had a hissy fit. And it's like, again, I'm going back to the Starbucks. You can't get your macchiato. What the fuck? It's okay.
Right. Yes.
I get bitchy about that. So, yeah. So the thing is, we've got some heavy energy coming in, leading September, going into October. October is going to be our big gotcha month this year. Okay, after all the other gotcha months that we've already had. But September, traditionally, we're in recovery from the Hungry Ghosts month, from the karmic catch-up month. So it's kind of like September, August is done, yay. But it's kind of like, if you had major surgery, you're not going to get up and dance on September 1st. Okay, it's about you being able to give yourself a break, because every single thing, every lesson that we're getting is about give yourself a break. You don't have to live in that box that Piscean Age society said you have to live in. So we have that going on where we're going to be recovering. Give yourself time. Now, the difficulty comes in because the next Mercury retrograde starts on the 9th of September. So as we are recovering, this Mercury retrograde, which we will feel like really strongly, but if you don't go inside self, you're going to have a problem, because that's what the Mercury retrograde does. That's what all retrogrades do. And just as a note, in August is traditionally the time when all the outer planets are retrograde at the same time. That's what we got. Okay, one of them is not going in until the very end of the month, but we still have August as all the outer planets are retrograde. And with those bigger planets, they move slowly, but it's like they're shifting the ground underneath us. They shift what we believe in. They give us new awareness that kind of comes through our consciousness, but it doesn't come through like Mercury does, which slapping us all over the place. So then we get Mercury added to that, Mercury retrograde, which if you again look at it for what it's for, which is to slow you down and give you an opportunity to go inside and re-examine, because everything with Mercury retrograde is redo this, redo that, reassess, being able to go inside with that. So the Mercury retrograde will make it easier and harder. For people who don't like where they are or what's going on in the world, it is not going to be nice for them. And again, their influence will be on us, whether we want it to be or not. But while that's going on, and that'll last until October 2nd, while that's going on, then we will have the equinox, which is usually, without a Mercury retrograde, that's usually the time when we balance out everything that happened in August and before. So it gives us that time to be able to take a pause and to balance out. And actually that happens on the 22nd, 23rd of September this year, depending on where you are in the country. And then the new moon happens on the 25th. So it's kind of like we get this really wonderful balance energy, and then we get the dark of the moon, and then we get the new moon, and there's a Mercury retrograde. So it's kind of like a combination of level, and all of it is trying to get us to say, get back to self. Who are you? Know who you are, because all of these things are trying to show you more about yourself than you knew before.
Wow. So this is like a heavier energy that's affecting everyone.
It's heavier, but it doesn't have to be perceived as heavy. Because literally, if you've done your work, and I'm not talking like, you're golden and you don't have any problems. I'm talking about the inner work. If you're clear on who you are, then this stuff becomes more annoying, because that equinox energy is really uplifting. And do something on the equinox that specifically balances you out. Wear black and white, or do a ritual, or do drumming, or do something that acknowledges that this is the balance out time. Release a lot of stuff. And when you're in the dark of the moon, release into the dark of the moon. It's kind of like I'm releasing into darkness everything that doesn't work for me, and then start fresh on the new moon. And the new moon goes through the rest of this year. I mean, we'll have other new moons, but this one is going to be significant. So,
When is the equinox again,
The
Laurie?
equinox is where sun and where night and day, sun, whatever. I mean, it's equal time, because right now the days are longer. And then when we get into Yule or the winter solstice, then the nights are going to be longer. Right now, on that day, it's when there's perfect equality between night and day. So it's the
Mhm.
balance time, and it's the autumnal equinox. And it's a lovely time. I mean, it's a wonderful ceremony. If you're in Wicca or paganism, it's literally like what we take Thanksgiving, that's what this is. It's like big celebration, big feast, because it goes by an agricultural society, which means at that point, there are 3 harvest festivals. There's one that's for grain in August, and then there's one for everything else on the equinox. And that's where we got Thanksgiving from, technically, because this ritual was going on long before Christianity came in. And there was this celebration of all the foods that you just gathered and were going to can or whatever, but that celebration was there. The third one is Samhain or All Hallows Eve at the end of October. And that is the time when you collect the root vegetables like the pumpkins or the rest of the roots. And then after that, you leave everything in the field. You don't go, reaping again until next year, and whatever's in the field becomes fodder for the land for the next year. But okay, so I'm sorry, a little Wicca stuff thrown in there.
It's
Because
cool.
it's good to celebrate, because even though the energy that I'm talking about is challenging, it's only challenging if you're in your own way.
Right.
And then it's really challenging. And the biggest challenge that most people have who are moving into this Aquarian age energy is that they can feel the vehemence that other people who are lost are throwing out, like radioactivity.
Yep.
Okay. So then we hit October. All right. This is going to be fun because it shifts, a little bit talking politics, which I'm not going to talk politics, but I'm saying that everything right now within politics is pretty screwed.
Right.
Okay. How we started the country was not how we are now. And since we're in the Pluto return for the United States, for us to be able to reestablish who we are and to get our intentions back, that we had 3 words that started this country, and those are the most important words, which we are not living by right now, which is we the people.
Yeah.
Because the Supreme Court is going by me, I'm important, and I'm going to control everybody else because I don't like what's going on. Or, people trying to control the vote, whatever. But what's happening in October is going to lead into what happens with the vote. So first off, October 2nd, Mercury goes direct. Yay, we don't need it retrograde during the rest of this time. Okay, and then on October 4th, there's an event that it's like a big, it's Saturn and Uranus squaring each other. That was more prominent last year because it brought forth contention. It basically comes down to it's the old ways versus the new ways with lots of fighting.
Oh my God, yes, I remember.
Yeah, and that energy is going on, but it hits its peak on the 4th, which is interesting that happens a month before we have the election. So with what's been going on, with the Supreme Court making that decision, there are a lot of people that, at least in Texas, what happened is that Greg Abbott, the asshole governor of Texas, that because he was a proponent of that and he pushed that, and yeah, let's go for it, you can't do an abortion or whatever, that Beto O'Rourke and he have been like really close neck and neck for the governor's race. And Greg Abbott lost a lot of points in the polls, and Beto went up just because of that, just because of the Supreme Court about abortion. And they've been making other stupid decisions, but I'm saying that this is the kind of thing, because the old way is like really making it stink and going way, way, way farther. There's no pendulum swing in the middle, like we're going to make sure everything is okay. They're like going to the extreme here, and that extreme is not going to work. They're going to shoot themselves in the foot, because they always do. And we're going to see that on October 4th or around that time, because there will be more events of the Piscean age holdouts really trying to make it stink, and people being so tired of it that there's going to be pushback. But that's not the real issue going on here. This is going to be fun. So we have the moons in October, and we have, there's Libra, which is about fairness and blah, blah, blah. And then we have Scorpio energy coming in, which is going to push the shit out of everything, because the big event that's going to be the biggest thing for me, I understand that Saturn and Uranus, that's like a not long term, but that's a big deal. But the thing that's going to be really interesting is on October 30th, Mars goes retrograde. We didn't have Mars retrograde last year. At least I think we had it at the very, very beginning of the year. And we
Right.
had it with a Mercury retrograde. So it was really, really ugly. Okay.
Wow.
This is not going to be at the very end of Mars retrograde in January, because it runs from October 30th until January 12th. And the last Mercury retrograde will take place the last day, or I think it's the next to the last day in December, and then run. So we're going to have this little week or so where Mercury and Mars are retrograde at the same time. That is not pleasant. But also when Mercury comes on top of something like that and it lasts longer, it will carry through the Mars energy until it's done. So this is going to be like 3 whole months of Mars retrograde. But this is the thing that I'm seeing, that these little Piscean age holdouts, I'm being disrespectful to them, I don't care. These little Piscean age holdouts that are causing such a stink, it's like the Aquarian age energy is saying, all right, we're giving you time for you to get the lesson that we've had on your books for a long time by yourself, because when Mars goes retrograde, you won't have a choice.
Wow.
And the bitch slapping will start with sledgehammers. So this is going to be a comeuppance for people right before the election. So the October 4th Saturn-Uranus thing is going to shake everything up. It's going to like loosen everything up.
Wow.
And then this energy is going to come in very specifically for men. And then we have the election. So what is going to happen in the election is pretty much not what everybody's thinking. It's not going to be what people are thinking. And there are so many little changes that are going to happen between now and then. And then the rest of the year, pay attention to the moons, because once we get out of October and Mars is retrograde, then that's going to be kind of like the theme for the rest of the year. But it also means that chaos, I mean, this election is going to be a clusterfuck, because it doesn't matter if everything is right all the way down the line. When it comes down to it, there's going to be argument after the fact. So if you get all the results that night, just say all the results come in that night, it's going to take weeks, if not months, for it to really be decided, because people are thinking, oh no, then the machines didn't work, or, you know, these wrong people, and I've got all these votes that were counted and that were illegal. They're not going to give up. Okay. So this isn't going to be just a clean election, everybody come in and do it. It is going to be like a free-for-all to a certain extent. And I don't see the outcome being terrible, you know, like we all go back into the Piscean age, but I do see that it's not going to be super clear one way or the other. It's not going to be, we're all going to be looking forward, because this is still the opportunity of these people, of these holdouts, to be able to move forward, and they're not really doing a good job of it. And when they're forced to move forward, and then they get an election that they can focus their energy on and be pissy about, they're going to focus their energy on anything that they can be pissy about. So just be aware, take it easy for the holidays. I mean, if you need to go and have a good time, the key for the holidays this year, do what you want, not what you're supposed to. If you're supposed to be with family and you hate going to family dinners, because family one-on-one is great, but when you get together, it's obnoxious. Or some people have COVID and they're not really telling other people, because it's like, it's not that bad, I just have a cold, and they don't have respect for other people and their concerns for it. I'm saying here, the holidays, which we have made traditionally about family, if you don't enjoy the family event, don't go to Cancun, do something. But this is where it is about us knowing what we want, us knowing who we are, what makes us happy. For this year, it's literally do what you need to do in order to make sure that you're happy. So the holidays will be fine. We can have them be difficult, because do what we're supposed to do. But everything this year is telling us, do what is best for you. Clean your karma, do what is good for you. And on a day-to-day basis, if you need to feel better about yourself, do something that makes you feel better about yourself. I don't care what it is. Buy yourself flowers, get a macchiato, whatever.
Starbucks.
I know, Starbucks. I should say something positive about them, because I say so many negative things, but go ahead.
No, this is cool. I mean, you know, sometimes it's good just to, it's a reminder, really, you know, Laurie. It is a reminder, because sometimes we forget, and we're like, oh my God, we're so used to this. I mean, we have it good here in the United States compared to a lot of countries. So when we're so used to having all this lifestyle, convenience, Starbucks every morning, I mean, not other country have what we have, especially going to a third world. They barely have any, I mean, even one meal to eat, you know. And so sometimes when we have incident like this, like COVID lockdown, we just, you know, it's like we have been spoiled. We forgot.
Yeah, we
You
forgot.
know, we have to realize, hey, you know what? When it comes around again, you'll have it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we've kind
And
of forgotten how restriction has been. Like in World War
yes,
II, we all knew that restriction was for a purpose because, you know, our soldiers needed all the butter or they needed all the steel or whatever. So we were all involved with that. But there were restrictions that not everybody liked, but they were
yeah,
restrictions. We've got restrictions now that we can't put a finger on because they're not about physicality. Well, they are because supply chains and stuff like that. But I'm saying
yeah,
it's caused by energetic change. So we don't have like the commonality of a single war where we know we're right.
right. I
So
agree
it
with
makes
that.
it difficult to accept that.
It's you know, it's I think what it is it's a process that a lot of people have to go through, especially right now, like you said, you know. Um, if you're not going in, you're not going within and find out who you are, more stuff is gonna come in
Yeah,
and
it
slap you in
is.
the face. Totally. And it's been getting a lot stronger and stronger, this energy, because you know, you can tell by how the news energy is going on. It's more intense. I noticed that. And the energy of the news that's been putting out is like not enough or
Yeah,
a lack, short. Everything's short, like restrict. Oh, but you just mentioned restriction, Laurie.
yeah,
So this is even much more restriction, but this is not like restriction of our time or our freedom now. This is restriction into our livelihood, you
yeah,
know, food and everything. So that energy has been like and out on through all these major media for a while now.
yeah.
So I think that's gonna happen. So I wonder, I'm sure that's gonna affect a lot of people, like you said, you know. So I'm glad that you brought this, you know, onto this talk, Laurie, because a lot of people can be prepared for it, right?
Yeah, and that's the whole thing. It's kind of like when we don't know what's going on, we do, all right, what did I do wrong? I mean, even men do that. Traditionally women do that, but we've turned it in on ourselves because we don't understand what's going on. If we don't understand, then we make it about us, which is what the young souls, the Piscean age souls are doing, because they make it about them, that the world is so hard that they must do something wrong, but then they have a tendency of attacking for their own defense. It's like, I got to protect myself because I did something wrong. It's your fault.
Yeah.
And you know, they don't do it as in, oh, let me look inside and see what's going on, which is like, I'm going to blame everybody else versus I'm going to blame me. So if we just know that this is happening and there's no blame to it, this is, we agreed to be here to learn these lessons, and these lessons come in, and it's, again, the lessons come in and they're really challenging, or I would say different than what we're used to. So we're trying to adjust to that. Well, we're like skimming the sky, having a great time up in the Aquarian age with our feet in the Piscean age. So there are just so many things going on. I'm just saying, give yourself a break on everything, because if you knew the levels, if you could see the levels, I mean, I'm really lucky I can see energy levels. And it's like when I see somebody, it's like they are completely surrounded by swirls of energy. It's like they got their own personal hurricane going on right over their heads. And if you knew that, and you knew what you were living through and surviving in and doing a good job in and being a good person and taking care of your family and loving people, then you'd give yourself a break, because it literally, and I use the hurricane thing a lot, but if you're in the middle of a hurricane, you don't expect to do your taxes. You don't expect to make everything right. You survive the hurricane.
Right.
And that's what
Right.
we're in. And one thing that I did not mention that kind of is general right now, men going through this huge lesson, if women are looking for a man, don't take it too seriously right now,
Mm. You mean
because
relationship for women?
yeah, if a
Okay.
woman wants a relationship, a loving relationship with a man, and she doesn't have a man and she's looking for a man,
Yeah.
and she wants, you know, because that's a lot of what I read for also, is people saying, well, when is the guy coming in? And I'm going, well, you can have a guy, he's not going to be the guy. You can have a guy, but do you really want to raise a man again? So leave it go this year.
But by the way, guys, we didn't get to introduce her in the beginning. Some of you may have watched her videos in the past. You know, I have interviewed. Laurie comes here every 2 weeks. So, you know, you have watched her before. So you know that she's a teacher. She's an author of the book Into Aquarian Age. That's why she talks about Piscean Age and also Aquarian Age. Guys, pick up her books on Amazon.com. It's only like $4.99. Support her and read her book, and you can understand more about this energy. Also, she's a business and personal consultant. You know, she consults about relationship and business. anything goes, and she's very,
Yeah.
very accurate, very good. Yes, and especially now, right now, with what she just shared, there's going to be a lot of stuff coming up. And
Yeah.
if you are struggling and you cannot deal with whatever it is you're dealing with right now, you can seek Laurie for help. You know, she gives you the facts, she gives you the truth, no sugarcoating. You know, be real with what's going on with you, and it's gonna help you a lot.
Yeah.
You know, and there's time when a lot of people going through this hurricane, like you said, you need someone to give you a hand, pull you out of that. Laurie can
Yeah.
help you with that. You know, she's been doing this for so many years with her wisdom and, you know, with her knowledge. I mean, she can help you tremendously. And pick up a book, you know, highly recommend it. I'm going to put the link in description here so you can buy her book. So Laurie, is anything else that you would like to, you know, give it to the audience, you know?
Well, in knowing all this stuff, it can seem pretty dismal
Yeah.
because it's the loudest part of what we're dealing with. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's the biggest part. We are in this exponential growth as humanity. It is uplifting and exciting. And when I get to talk about it, I get high because it's just so lovely. And it's taking us to places where we can understand things again, like light, the universe, and everything that we never could. We're all getting more psychic.
We can talk about this on the next one, Laurie.
On the next one, yes.
Yeah, let's do that.
We're all getting more psychic, you know?
Oh my God, this is huge. I'm glad that you, okay. That is so crazy because I mean, I interviewed quite a few people and several of them have talked about that, but also, you know, many, many years ago, a lot of psychic channels mentioned about that.
Yeah.
But also astrologically, it also kind of showing us that way too, you know? So I think more and more of us become more in tune if we're open. The word meditation, you mentioned about that, look, you know, spend time alone, look into yourself, meditate. That's very loud too, you know, for a lot of people now. So I think that's exciting. That's exciting for a lot of people. Being psychic, you're being a superhuman, guys. Actually,
that's where we're all going. We're all becoming superhuman.
Wow.
Because
so
that's our next phase.
Let me ask you, Laurie, if everyone becomes like psychic, that's going to take away your job.
Well, okay, by the time they get as psychic as I am, I won't be here anymore. So
oh God, don't say that.
This is like a 2,000-year journey.
Yeah.
And you don't just have to be psychic, then you have to know what to do with it. Yeah. So I'm not too worried about that. And if everybody gets to be psychic and they don't need me anymore, then I'm glad, because that humanity has just taken a really great step.
I was just joking with that, but
I know, God. I'm serious about everything today. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's hilarious. But you know, it's just incredible with all the, I guess we are coming into who we are with this Aquarian age. And that's what you're saying. That's exciting. I mean, sometimes we don't even have to talk. We just kind of pick up each other's thought. I think that would be cool to do that. And then I think it's kind of, you can't lie. I mean, if we get to that point, Laurie, we cannot lie to each other anymore.
I know.
We're going to be reading each other's thought. Isn't that crazy?
I know. That's the first thing that I really like, is if you're even if you're not in tune with anything else and being psychic, a lot of people can tell when somebody else is lying. They might not know why, but they can tell.
Oh my God. So that means everyone's going to be honest.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to be
okay. We're in the process of getting there, but yeah, I mean, this isn't something that's going to happen in 20 years. This is a development for a long term, but yes, we are getting more psychic and we're already getting hits of that.
We are. Yes, I agree with that. Wow, absolutely beautiful. Great talk today. Great teaching today. You know, and I have to agree with you with the talk today, and Laurie, with all these energies coming up, because I feel it too, you know, and also from interviewing a lot of people, it seems like a lot of people are picking up as well. Yeah. And thank you for sharing this. Thank you for being here, being a psychic, where you offer this service to everyone, you know, who would, you come here, you got issue right now, look her up. Laurie Johnson is under the description here. And I can honestly tell you that she can help you quite, I mean, amazingly, you know.
Thank you.
No, thank you. Thank you for being here. Laurie, beautiful. Thank you. Virtual hug. Guys, Virtual hug to you. Thank you so much for listening until the end of this video. Please do not forget to click like. If you haven't subscribed, please do so, or share this video. Share Laurie's love. You know, if you feel like Laurie can help anyone, she can teach anyone, please share this video with your friends, your family, your social media, because you are helping, you know, other people as well to go through this, you know, period. Oh, and also her cat can help you too.
I know.
The tail.
She can. The tail
She
of
wants,
wisdom.
she wants to get on the screen and be
Yeah.
a superstar. There you go. Well,
There she
Laurie, thank
goes.
you so much, Laurie.
You're very welcome.
I'll see you next couple weeks. We're going to talk about that. Hey, guys, thanks a lot. Until the next video. Ciao.